ADHD, OCD, ADD. Chances are you've heard these short letters when talking about mental health. They stand for just a few of the many different mental health issues out there. But what do they really mean? And which one might you have? Maybe you've wondered, which one fits me? Mental health letters can be confusing. Let's explore them, find out what they mean, and learn about the many different mental health issues they represent. 1. ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD for short, is a mental health condition that affects how people focus, control their impulses, and manage their energy. You can think of it as having a mind that is always in motion, or like having a TV remote with a miswired button or two. Sometimes, the channel changes on its own, or you can't seem to pause the action when you want to. Those with ADHD might find it hard to pay attention, sit still, or resist impulsive urges. In a world that sometimes feels too slow for their speedy thoughts, individuals with ADHD are the whirlwinds of the mental landscape. Before 2003, scientists thought that ADHD and ADD, which is Attention Deficit Disorder, were entirely different. New research shows that they can be grouped together and are very similar, and can even be varying presentations of ADHD. ADHD is more than just being hyper or easily distracted. According to a study carried out back in 2019, over 5 million people around the world struggle with ADHD. And if you're one of them, then you should know that there are two major types of ADHD. Predominantly inattentive presentation. People with this type struggle to stay focused, easily get distracted, and may seem forgetful or disorganized. Predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation. This type brings a surplus of energy and restlessness. Impulsivity, acting without thinking, is a common feature. Combined presentation, a blend of inattentive and hyperactive impulsive symptoms, characterizes this type. If you have inattentive ADHD, then you've probably caught yourself struggling to pay attention more times than you can count. Living with ADHD isn't always easy, but it's not all bad either. Many successful, brilliant minds have ADHD. It's like having a unique pair of glasses through which the world is seen, a different perspective that comes with its challenges, but also remarkable strengths. Understanding, support, and tailored strategies can help navigate the quirks and wonders of an ADHD brain. If you think you have ADHD, then it would be great to speak to a professional who can help you figure it out. The good news is, whichever type of ADHD you have, there are ways to help you manage ADHD, like therapy or medication. 2. BD, aka Bipolar Disorder. Bipolar disorder is like a roller coaster ride of emotions, where the ups and downs aren't just thrilling but sometimes overwhelming. People with bipolar disorder experience extreme mood swings, swinging from the highs of euphoria and limitless energy to the lows of deep sadness and fatigue. It's like having a storm inside, sunshine and rain in the same sky. If you experience it firsthand, you'll find yourself swinging between two extreme states, namely mania or hypomania and depression. This is because bipolar disorder has two primary phases: manic episodes. During these times, individuals might feel overly happy, energetic, or irritable. Thoughts can race, and they might engage in impulsive behaviors. When you're in a manic episode, it's as if you're on an emotional high. You feel an intense rush of energy, heightened enthusiasm, and sometimes an almost invincible confidence. Depressive episodes. The pendulum swings to the other extreme, where feelings of sadness, fatigue, and a lack of interest or pleasure in activities become predominant. But when the depressive phase kicks in, it feels like you're stuck in an unending rainstorm. You experience deep sadness, hopelessness, and even the simplest daily tasks can be a huge struggle. 3. DID. In full, DID means Dissociative Identity Disorder. And just like bipolar disorder, it is a rare condition where you have two or more distinct identity states or personalities within yourself. Each of these identities may have its own name, age, gender, and personality. It's almost like having different people living inside your head. One of the main symptoms of DID is switching. This is when you switch from one identity to another. During these switches, it can feel like you've lost time or have memory gaps for what happened when a different identity was in control. This memory fuzziness can be pretty confusing and upsetting. In a lot of cases, DID is usually linked to a history of serious psychological trauma, especially during your childhood. As a result, your brain creates different identities in order to help you deal with the overwhelming stress and trauma you've been through. Have you ever felt like this before? If so, you may need to speak with a professional. 4. BPD. Borderline Personality Disorder, BPD, is like feeling emotions in high definition, where everything is intense and overwhelming. Individuals with BPD might experience rapid and intense shifts in mood, making it challenging to maintain stable relationships and a sense of self. It's akin to riding turbulent waves in an emotional sea. BPD often involves a fear of abandonment, unstable self-image, impulsive behavior, and intense, stormy relationships. People with BPD may feel empty or constantly on the edge, struggling to regulate their emotions. The experience of BPD is varied and complex. It can involve patterns of unstable relationships, a sense of emptiness, frequent mood swings, and self-damaging behaviors. Individuals may also experience dissociation, feeling detached from reality or themselves. 5. SAD, social anxiety disorder. Everyone gets nervous in some social situations sometimes. For example, when you have that big presentation at work or when you go on a date for the very first time. However, in social anxiety disorder, the anxiety is much more magnified. It's like having a magnifying glass on the fear of being judged or embarrassed in social situations. Social anxiety involves an excessive fear of social situations, leading to anxiety or panic. It might make simple activities like speaking in public, meeting new people, or even just being observed feel like insurmountable challenges. Even the slightest social interaction makes you feel crippling anxiety, self-conscious and embarrassed because you fear being scrutinized or judged negatively by others. It's not just that you're nervous, it's like your body goes into panic mode. To cope with this anxiety, you might start avoiding these situations. And that's the tricky part. You might miss out on a lot because of this. Life becomes a bit like a game of dodgeball, where you're trying to dodge the anxiety-inducing stuff, which, for someone with SAD, is almost everything. 6. OCD. A common misconception is that OCD solely revolves around being a neat freak or excessively organized. Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder, OCD, is like having a nagging voice in the mind that insists on performing certain actions or thinking specific thoughts. It goes far beyond a love for cleanliness or orderliness. People with OCD grapple with intrusive, distressing thoughts, obsessions, and often perform repetitive behaviors, compulsions, to try to alleviate the anxiety these thoughts cause. This is because it is characterized by persistent, intrusive, and distressing thoughts. To cope with these thoughts, you might find yourself developing certain behaviors or rituals. These rituals can be physical actions like washing your hands repeatedly, or mental tasks like counting or saying specific words in your mind. The experience of OCD can be all-consuming. It's not merely about preferences for cleanliness or organization. It's about the distressing impact these thoughts and rituals have on everyday life. For those living with OCD, these rituals are often time-consuming, causing severe anxiety if not performed. The most challenging part of OCD is that it can seriously disrupt your daily life. OCD can severely impact daily life, affecting work, relationships, and mental health. The intrusive thoughts and rituals can be distressing and time-consuming, and sometimes make it challenging to function in various aspects of life. Your obsessions and compulsions can take up a lot of your time, sometimes hours each day. This means they can interfere with your job, school, relationships, and just about any activity you want to do.